All right, this is my immediate reaction to UFC Fight Night Bonfim versus Brown. Another underrated Apex card. 8 finishes, decent night of fights in all. Like, dude, no complaints here. The last 2 weeks have delivered in terms of the Apex. It's kind of been like a little bit of a MMA depression, but, hey, no complaints. They've absolutely delivered. Let's just jump right in here to the main event. Bonfim versus Brown. I went with Randy Brown. I thought he would masterclass Gabriel Bonfim. Based on Bonfim's last kind of subpar performance against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, dude, Bonfim comes out there and outstrikes Randy Rude Boy Brown. Like, in the first round, Bonfim was immediately chopping calf kicks, and Randy Brown is just checking almost none of them, getting his leg damaged and compromised. Dude, throughout this fight, like, Randy Brown never really had a chance to, get into his flow state. That swagger he normally carries in the fight where he's super loose and just landing from all angles. He never got a chance to get going in this fight, dude. He was getting his legs chopped in the first round. Was trying, the occasional flying knee, some unorthodox strikes, but he just could not land clean on Bonfim, dude. Bonfim did a really good job just attacking the lead leg of Brown, slowing him down, not letting him get into a rhythm. So that's basically how round 1 went. Round 2, starting out, like, Randy Brown did a good job circling away from the calf kick. He was still eating some kicks, but it was more to the upper thigh, which isn't as bad as a calf kick. And then, dude, Gabriel Bonfim, like, I don't know, man, how I feel about this stoppage. Gabriel Bonfim lands a flying knee. Randy Rude Boy Brown falls backward right onto his head. It looks really bad. He lands the knee, like, as he's falling on his ass. Bonfim lands the knee as he's falling on his ass. Brown just topples right over. It looked like he was briefly out for a moment. Ref stops the fight right then and there. Brown, they show the replay. He, like, falls straight back on his head. Oh, my God, I almost fell out of my damn chair. Brown falls straight back on his head. And it looks like he's out for a few seconds, and then he gets his guard back up, but the ref has already stopped the fight. So I don't really know how I feel about this, dude. I know, like, we all like to give refs a hard time, but that looked really bad the way Randy Brown fell. Regardless of if it was an early stoppage or not, like, Gabriel Bonfim was undoubtedly on his way to winning the fight. It's time to put some respect on Gabriel Bonfim's name, I guess, man. Like, I underestimate him in this fight based on his last performance, and to come out and outstrike a guy like Randy Rude Boy Brown, man, I did not see that coming. Like, that's tough for Randy Brown, dude. Every big fight he's had, he just can't get it done. He just can't get it done, man. Like, dude, it's like their last performances are such a vast difference. Like, Bonfim is coming off this subpar close fight with Wonderboy Thompson. Randy Brown is coming off a knockout of the night performance where he just looked stellar against, Nicholas Dalby. So, I mean, I honestly looked at that last performance and I'm like, Randy Brown is the real deal. It's his time. He's finally getting his shit together. I know he's had an up and down career. I know he hasn't won a single big fight or a big chance he's been given, but this is his time. Just wasn't meant to be, dude. Bonfim looked good. Bonfim defends that ranking spot, takes out and outstrikes a crafty vet in Randy Brown. And yeah, man, that's all I can say. Nice work to Gabriel Bonfim. Co-main event, Matt Schnell. I went with Matt Schnell here. I wasn't the most confident, and yeah, I mean, dude, Joseph Morales did nice work in this fight. Like, Matt Schnell is so weird, man. Like, on the feet, like he's effective, but like this whole it's so weird to watch that guy strike on the feet. So he comes out, he looks okay, like he's landing, but so is Joseph Morales. His hands look sharp. Schnell ducks under one of the strikes, gets a good takedown. Morales almost instantly reverses position, gets into side control almost immediately. And then probably about 30 seconds later, starts working on a Kimura. Schnell does a good job, defends it, but like somehow ends up in a crucifix position. Just terrible for Schnell. Dude, Morales did such a good job taking him from bad to worse in this fight. Like, Morales is the real deal. So he has him in the crucifix off the Kimura attempt. Lands like one elbow. Like, Schnell's doing a good job defending. He is pretty crafty. He's been in there a long time. Eventually gets his other arm out of the crucifix, reverses Morales, gets on top. But in the scramble, in him getting that reversal and scrambling to get on top, he gets caught in a really tight guillotine by Joseph Morales, and that's all she wrote. Morales is good, man. Like, super technical on the ground. This was another one, man. I just, it is what it is. It is what it is, dude. Morales is the real deal. Training out of Team Alpha Male. They're at least good at getting guys to like title contention. They're not good at all at winning belts themselves, but they are good at getting these guys into title contention. So Morales is, he's a guy to look out for. Sharp. He looked sharp on the feet. He's dangerous on the ground, man. Like, especially over a guy like Schnell, who's really seasoned, really experienced, very technical on the ground and on the feet. To just take him and put him in worse position after worse position like that, super technical, super impressive stuff from Joseph Morales there. Muslim Salikhov, Uros Medic. I went Muslim Salikhov, dude. I had a hell of a time on this main card. Everything went to shit for me, picks-wise on the main card. I started out really hot in the prelims, and it just all fell apart on this main card. I thought Muslim Salikhov could knock him out. I mean, dude, he looked super impressive in his last fight over Carlos Leal, a very dangerous up-and-comer in that division who was just flatlining guys, right? Right from the jump, though, dude, there was a clear speed advantage from Uros Medic, and he is sharp with the hands and the speed and the kicks. Like, very sharp, very technical guy, and, yeah, man, he managed to land that left hand in the first round on Muslim, put him down, and Muslim just curled up like a ball, dude, and Uros Medic landed a few hammer fists, and that was all she wrote, man. Like, underrated guy for sure. Underrated guy for sure. Good hand speed, very technical striker. And he can put dudes away, man. I guess it's time to put some more respect on Uros Medic's name, man. I got humbled on this card. Seriously. Like, man. Chris Padilla, Ismael Bonfim. I went with Chris Padilla in this one. Chris Padilla gets it done. And I'm so happy he did because, like, I wasn't aware that Ismael Bonfim missed weight by 6 pounds. Like, dude. That and to on top of that, like, he misses weight by 6 pounds. He comes in, headbutts Padilla almost immediately into the fight. Almost hits him in the groin once. Almost hits him in the groin a second time in the second round. Like, dude, what are we doing? We're missing weight. We're landing groin strikes. We're headbutting people. Like, bro, like, come on. Seriously, these guys. Some of these guys just don't take this shit serious. I swear to God, like, they're so dirty, such dirty fighting, but. Round one, it was kind of back and forth. Could have went either way, man. Like, Bonfim, like, he's one of those guys that's, like, I can tell, like, he's just one of those guys, super explosive, dangerous in that first round. But if you can manage to weather that storm, he's gonna slow down in that second, in that third, and then you can get one over on him, right? It's very similar to a guy like Kyler Phillips, who looks like a world beater in the first round. But if you cannot get knocked out or finished by Kyler Phillips in the first round, he slows down significantly in rounds 2 and 3 and just doesn't look like the same guy out there. Same thing with, like, this fight kind of reminded me a lot of, like, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, too, where it's like Conor's one of those guys, super dangerous in that first round, right? Even the second, like, super dangerous, explosive, but burns through the gas tank quicker than most. These explosive guys burn through the gas tank quicker than anybody, right? And Padilla had kind of a similar approach where he was pushing Bonfim into the cage like Nate was Conor, landing body strikes, grinding on him, dragging him against the cage, making him really pay for that weight miss. Towards the end of that first round, Bonfim manages to get a takedown. Maybe that gets him the round, maybe not. I still had it for Padilla. It was just such a contrast in this fight because you have a guy who's, like, super explosive, athletic in Ismael Bonfim. And then you have, like, Chris Padilla, who's, like, you could just tell he's not a super athletic dude, but he's very, very, like, fundamentally sound. Take shit super serious, like they had said on the broadcast. Very, very good defensive guard, man. Like, a lot of those explosive strikes that Bonfim was throwing were just bouncing off the forearms of Padilla. So he was never in any real danger. Bonfim did land an occasional strike here and there, but he wasn't able to really piece together anything significant against Padilla because of that solid high and tight guard, right? Round two, again, Bonfim he's still explosive in the second round. He's throwing, they're just bouncing off the high guard of Padilla. And then, like, Padilla hurts him on the feet, wobbles him, and then, like, I don't know, man. It's almost like not only was he hurt in that moment, but his gas tank was completely spent in that moment because he kind of just, like, crumpled over and then Padilla just proceeded to just beat the hell out of him on the ground. Bonfim tried to, like, set up some desperation knee bar. Padilla easily escapes it and just keeps beating on him. And Bonfim was pretty much done at that point, right? Like, the gas tank from the weight cut was completely spent. And, you know, it kind of just played out how I thought it would. Like, I knew Bonfim was dangerous, explosive, but I just thought Chris Padilla the whole time had the higher IQ. And that's just what it was, dude. You know, that's just what it was. Less athletic, but just much more fundamentally sound. Much more just, like, disciplined because he can actually fucking make weight. You idiot, Bonfim. I hate these guys who miss weight, but nice work by Chris Padilla. All right, main card opener. Man, this was a good one. I picked Christian Leroy Duncan by decision, man. Like, I thought it would be a hard-fought decision for him because I know how tough Tulio is, but, like, this was just another one of those fights where it was, like, the unorthodox spinning attacks, constant spinning attacks of Christian Leroy Duncan. Were just kind of, like, flustering Tulio. Like, you could just tell, like, first thing in the first round, man, it just started terribly for Tulio. Christian Leroy Duncan lands that patented spinning elbow, busts open Tulio pretty good. You know, it's kind of a back and forth first round. And then, like, you know, Marco Tulio has him pressed against the cage, gets a takedown, can't really hold him down. And then after that moment, it's like Christian Leroy Duncan was like, he just decided to be an aggressive forward fighter after that, right? Because normally that's Tulio. And that's kind of how it was, how I thought it would play out in the initial round is Leroy Duncan on the back foot, Marco Tulio, like, pressing forward. No, man, that's how it was. That's how it was the first half of the round. After that, it was all Leroy Duncan pressing forward. So, close first round. I gave it to Leroy Duncan just because of the damage, the spinning elbow. Thought he did a little bit better, landing some of the body kicks, some of the leg kicks. Round two, same thing. He's right back on the pressure into Leo's face. Lands another spinning back fist. This time it wobbles to Leo. He follows up, lands was it a right or a left? I think it was a right. Yeah, it was a right hand. So he wobbles him initially with another spinning back fist, follows up with a right hand, face plants to Leo, case closed. Like, solid work, man. Not not how I thought this would go. Not how I thought this was go. There was a lot of surprising performances tonight. And I did not see this one going down like this. I picked Christian Leroy Duncan, but it's just like, dude, he's so unorthodox and he's just so unpredictable. And he's just constantly spinning that Tulio just never had a chance to get into a rhythm in this fight, man. So pretty good work by Christian Leroy Duncan to open up that main card. Hyder, Emil, Jamall, Emmers. I went with Jamall Emmers, dude, by KO. He surprised me in this fight, dude. He surprised me in this fight. First though, I gotta just say this. Hyder Emil is like the fucking Asian Rocky Balboa. The guy eats so many significant strikes, so many clean strikes on the feet, and he's just always like moving forward, eating clean strikes, throwing back, you know, gassing himself out, but still moving forward. I don't know how he does it, dude. I don't know how he keeps moving forward because, like, midway through that first round, like, his mouth was already hanging open. Jamall Emmers was landing the cleaner shots. It was evident from the jump, like, Jamall Emmers was just a much cleaner, more technical striker. That first round did get interesting, though, because the pressure, it looked like, was giving Emmers a little bit of trouble. Now, Emmers did do a really good job, though, I thought, kind of dealing with that pressure. Like, this was the difference between him winning and losing to Hyder Emil. It was his ability to change levels off the pressure of Hyder Emil, because Hyder Emil's like Rocky Balboa, dude. He ain't defending takedowns. He's coming forward. He's going to take one to give one, right? Jamall Emmers was able to capitalize with 2 takedowns in the first round. Wasn't really able to control Hyder Emil initially until that second round when he got his 5th takedown, dude. Like, bunch of takedowns, but Emil was able to scramble up pretty good when he still had a somewhat of a gas tank left. Fifth takedown attempt, like midway through, I think it was like 2 minutes into the second round. Emmers changes levels, gets a takedown again, controls Hyder Emil, lands some decent ground and pound to finish out round 2. Round 3, dude, it's almost immediately, like, it had to have been a minute into the round, gets his 6th takedown, and Hyder Emil was just completely spent at that point. Like, off bottom position, dude, mouth hanging completely open, this horribly pained look on his face. Like, you could just tell Hyder Emil was absolutely dead at that point. like he was beyond like an empty gas tank. Like, he was in hell. Like, he was literally in hell. He looked so damn tired, and Emmers was just able to control him, beat him up on the ground. Anytime Hyder Emil managed to get back to his feet a few times, Emmers just proceeded to just mat return him each time, drag him down easily, and control him. Not what I expected from Jamall Emmers, but super impressive, man, because he's a very dynamic, technical striker, but now he's added in the wrestling. Like, dude, Jamall Emmers with the resurgence. I know he's kind of had an up and down UFC record. Like, I think he's finally getting his shit together. Like, 7 for 8 on takedown attempts, dude, from a primary striker. Super impressive. Nice work by Jamall Emmers. Ricky Simone, Raoni Barcelos. I went with Ricky Simone. Dude, this fight, like, did not play out how I expected. I thought both guys, it was going to be, like, not like, I don't want to compare it to, like, a Saruki and Gamrot, where it's just insane scrambles constantly throughout a 5-rounder. But, like, I thought it would be similar. They would, like, maybe, I honestly thought Ricky Simone would be able to initiate more grappling and have more success with the takedown against Raoni Barcelos. But, like, honestly, both of these guys wrestling, they completely neutralize each other's wrestling throughout the fight. And this was primarily a striking battle on the feet throughout. Like, Raoni Barcelos, I don't know why they gave him 1. He got 2 takedowns, but, like, they were insignificant because Ricky Simone just managed to scramble back up. Raoni Barcelos stuffed all 6 of Simone's takedown attempts. It was kind of a decently close fight. I don't know if I agree with a 30-27, but, like, I just thought Raoni Barcelos throughout the fight did a much better job, like, piecing together, like, combinations on the feet, right? Like, 1-2s, 1-2-3s, like, going to the body, going to the head. Simone, both guys were rolling with a lot of the punches, but, like, I just thought Raoni Barcelos, he just looked a lot crisper and clean on the feet, was able to get to Simone a lot more than Ricky Simone was able to get to him, and I don't know, Raoni Barcelos looked good, man, at 38. Like, this guy's underrated, man, like, because, like, we've seen, like, kind of like a very, very heavy wrestling attack his last 2 fights with, like, Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt. In this fight, like, with a guy with the wrestling pedigree of a Simone, he wasn't really able to do much wrestling in this fight. He was, like, had no control, 0 control, and was like, all right, I'm just going to outstrike you on the feet for 3 rounds. And he looked crisp and clean on the feet, dude. So, hey, you know, impressive stuff from a 38-year-old Raoni Barcelos. Mayra, Bueno, Silva, Jacqueline, Cavalcanti. I went with Jacqueline Cavalcanti by decision. That's kind of what happened, man. Kind of an eventful fight. Kind of a boring fight, in all honesty. Jacqueline Cavalcanti just was the busier fighter. Mayra Bueno Silva is just, she's done, in my opinion, dude. I don't know what she's doing out there. Cavalcanti was just pressing the action. Classic stick and move strategy. She was popping her with the jab, chopping low kicks, countering real well. You know, stuffed all the takedowns of Mayra Bueno Silva. It was just the better fighter, man. So, you know, that's how that one went. Josh Hokit, Max Gimenis. So I went with Josh Hokit. I thought he was going to get a ground and pound TKO, but man, Josh Hokit, fast hands for a heavyweight. Kind of a very, very small heavyweight. Like, honestly, he looks more like a light heavyweight. And, like, he had me a little bit worried because, like, early in the round, like, Gimenis was chopping some, like, heavy low kicks to the legs of Hokit. But ultimately, like, the hand speed was just too much for Max Gimenis. Josh Hokit was just too fast, too athletic, and, puts Max Gimenis away first round with a left straight right down the pipe, man. And that's all she wrote. Tecia Pennington, Denise Gomes. I went with Tecia Pennington. Never again, dude. Never again. Like, every single one of Tecia's fights is the same story, and I feel dumb for picking her in this fight. Every fight, they're always talking about how defensively sound she is, how tough she is. She's never been finished in her pro career. Very defensive. Stuffs almost every takedown shot on her. But it's like, that's the whole story of Tecia Pennington. It's all defense and just like never enough offense. She's always backing up. She's throwing little pitter-patter body kicks, trying to throw little pitter-patter hooks, trying to just counter the whole time. Like, and it was the same here, dude. Like, this is why she lost the Tabitha Ricci fight. This is why she lost the Mackenzie Dern fight, right? Like, she just doesn't do enough. Denise Gomes didn't look that great, but she just was the busier fighter. Walking her down, they said on the broadcast, like, Gomes reminds her, like, of a young Jessica Andrade. I kind of see the similarities, just not nearly as talented as Jessica Andrade was in her prime, but she was just walking Tecia down. Tecia was doing the usual, stuffing every takedown and escaping the clinch and trying to, like, pitter-pat counter here and there, throwing strikes here and there. And, dude, she just keeps it too close, man. Like, there were brief moments where Tecia was pressing and landing some decent strikes, but for the most part, it was just Tecia backing up. And that's just the story of every fight. Like, she's backing up. None of these girls can ever seem to do anything with her just because of how physically strong she is. And she just loses because she's just defensive and never initiates hardly any offense. And that caught up to her in round 3, dude. Denise Gomes finally gets Tecia got a takedown. Denise Gomes managed to get back up, get her own takedown, and then just proceeded to kind of control Tecia Pennington for the remaining minute and a half of the fight and pulls a unanimous decision off of it. I mean, it was a very underwhelming fight, but, I don't even feel bad. I'm not even mad at the decision because Tecia just doesn't do enough. So I will not be picking Tecia Pennington ever again because she just is not active enough. There's just virtually hardly any offense from her, and this is why she loses close decisions every single time. Miles John, Daniel Marcos. So I went with Daniel Marcos by decision. But he pulls off a submission, man. And, like, dude, Marcos looked good in this fight. Like, so he was like he would initiate, like, the striking, right? Like, he would press forward, like, he would start throwing, like, a few good strikes on Johns. But then every time, like, Johns would try to engage, he immediately would change levels and shoot a takedown on Johns. Super, super good way of neutralizing a guy like Miles Johns, who has power, who's dangerous in the pocket, who kind of thrives in those wild exchanges. He just never gave him the chance to really, like, go crazy in those exchanges on the feet because he would just simply change levels every single time and get a hold of him. Round 2 comes around, it's much of the same, right? It's like Marcos landing. Every time John starts to open up and look for a wild exchange, Marcos is changing levels. He's on the takedown. And he had him against the cage round 2 off kind of one of those sequences where he did change the levels and had him controlled. Eventually drags him down, gets both hooks in, locks in the rear naked choke submission. So very, very smart performance from Daniel Marcos and a good bounce back because, like, Miles Johns is coming off a very, very close fight with Gene Matsumoto, who's a very, very, like, good prospect, right? That guy obviously had the close fight with Rob Font. I don't know, but maybe Rob Font's washed at this point. I don't know. But regardless, I feel like it's a decent comeback win for Daniel Marcos. Last fight on the card, we got Zachary Reese, Jackson Mcvey. I went with Zachary Reese. I went with Zachary Reese in this one by knockout. And dude, this had me worried. Like, first round, like, Zachary Reese, like, at range seemed to be the better guy, was landing the better strikes. But, like, when they would get into the clinch, man, like, Mcvey was just beating him up with elbows, knees to the body. It looked like Reese was going to crumple from those knees to the body. Like, he busted him open early with one of the elbows in the clinch. Like, this fight started so chaotic. Like, it honestly, like, I'm, like, sitting here watching the fight. And if you haven't seen Don Fry versus, like, I think it's a guy named Takayama. He's like this big Japanese dude. And it's this classic pride fight where they're both in the clinch. And they're just, like, hammering each other in the clinch. I honestly was thinking, holy shit, I'm about to see a Don Fry Takayama, like, reincarnation here. Crazy, crazy stuff. But, like, Jackson Mcvey was, like, definitely getting the better of him in the clinch. Had me worried. Kind of similar to the Jamall Emmers Hyder Emil fight, though. Zachary Reese changes levels last, like, minute of that round. And, like, as soon as they hit the ground, it's just, like, within, like, 10, 15 seconds, it's clear Zachary Reese has the advantage on the ground. He's able to pass the guard, beats up Jackson Mcvey a little bit to finish out that round. Very, very close first round, man. Honestly, you could go Mcvey just because of the damage in the clinch and the damage of the cut that he landed with the elbow. Round 2 comes around. Zachary Reese, man. Zachary Reese with the high IQ move, man. He's like, hey, I did pretty good. I did pretty good on top towards the end of that first round. Let me go out here and get another takedown. Gets another takedown. Mcvey tries to scramble up. He gets him down again. Fuck, I got to remember all these finishes. So he gets him down again. Gets his hooks, gets his back. Another rear naked choke. So this fight started with 2 rear naked choke wins. All in all, though, like, picks-wise, look, I started so good. So it was like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 7-3, 7-4, 7-5, dude. From 7-2 to 7-5 on this card. I really shit the bed on that main card, but, you know, regardless, it's, you know, I enjoyed the card. Super good Apex card, like, but now, like, we're gearing up for Makhachev Della Maddalena next week, so I cannot wait. But, like, this was a good 2-week vacation from, like, big pay-per-view cards. And, yeah, man, you know, regardless of how I did on picks, you know, I've enjoyed the last two Apex cards. So let me know how you did in the comments with picks. Like and subscribe. Until next time.